The City of Romulus Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting for Wednesday, April the 6th, 2022. Will come to order. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to get the meeting started.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Next item is roll call. We'll take a roll call of the members. Mr. Mankiewicz?
Here.
Mr. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Frederick?
Here.
Chandler is present. We have a new member that's been assigned to the board. He's unable to be here this evening. He'll be here at the next meeting. His name is Brian Lloyd, and he's replacing a member that has resigned and become a member of the Planning Commission. So it's basically all part of the same group. And that was Emery Long, and he sent us a letter about his resignation. I'll read that for the record. And it was addressed to Chairman Sheldon Chandler, and it's to the Romulus Board of Zoning Appeals. And he says, please accept this as my official letter of resignation as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm grateful for having had the opportunity to serve on the board and all the opportunities it has provided me. It has been an honor to be of service to the city of Romulus these past years. And I believe he's had almost 20 years of service on the Zoning Board of Appeals. But now he's on the Planning Commission, so he's basically part of the same group, the Planning Department.
Just hard.
And we also have President, our city planner is Carol Mays. And yes, that's about that. Did you want to say something about?
No, you said it very nicely. Mr. Lloyd is very anxious to get going.
Yeah.
I think you're going to find him a welcome addition to this group and just to the city, overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's really got very enthusiastic about serving, and he's got great background. I think you guys are going to.
But the new
So we'll
member,
see him
Brian
next
Lloyd, will
month.
be at our next meeting and get off to a good start that way.
Right,
And
he was just appointed Monday night, and just with getting him set and schedules and everything, we didn't think it was going to happen so soon, so he'll be here next month.
Yep. Anyway, that's where we stand with our membership right now. And the next item is on the agenda is the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Morris, to approve the agenda for this evening. We'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Mankiewicz?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. This agenda has been approved for this evening. Item 4 is approval of minutes. It is for the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting held on January the 5th, 2022.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Mankiewicz, to approve the minutes of that meeting held on January 5th, 2022. Take a roll call vote. Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Mankiewicz?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The minutes have been approved for that meeting. And moving on to petitions, the one we have on our agenda is for Hercules Materials Holdings. It's for a temporary request, and the temporary number is TEMP-2022-001 for Hercules Materials Holdings. And the location is as Vining between Wick and Smith Roads. The parcel number is ID 80-039-99-001-707 and 80039-99-001-708 and 8004099-0002-714.
If I can interrupt on that one, it's actually only 708.
Which one?
708, it's
Only
the middle
seven-
parcel, yes. These
All right.
parcels have not been
Uh,
combined. They're actually going to ultimately end up in a site condominium, but where the plant is actually sitting is on the middle one, 708, the last
All right.
three numbers.
Well,
So
correct
we can
what
get
I
rid of
said
those
then.
other two.
Anyway, the request is to utilize a portion of the property for a concrete batch plant to supply concrete from June the 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022 for the Romulus Trade Center development. And the project is a North Point Industrial Phase 1, Buildings 1, 2, and 3, and Royal Farms Gas Station. Would the petitioner's representative come to the podium and tell us about your project and your request? Is that Mr. Palumbo?
Pardon that?
Is that Giuseppe Palumbo? No?
Yeah, you go.
Oh, well, whoever.
Yeah, I'm Mark Warren with North Point Development.
Oh,
David Weinberg with North Point.
all right.
And here with Hercules.
You can give us your presentation and,
Speak in the mic.
Yeah, here we go. Got it.
So you can just fire away at that thing.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Like I said, I'm Mark Warner with North Point Development, out of our Detroit office and our Great Lakes market. And we, as you all are aware of, we have the Romulus Trade Center Phase 1 project here with 3 industrial buildings and one gas station. And as you know, per the application, we'd like to use a temporary batch plant for all the concrete that'll be poured out there. So we put together a presentation, and we'll kind of run through that here.
okay.
So here's some photos of the operation.
Right. That's our portable plant, the actual batch plant that we'll be placing on site. We'll be utilizing for that period of time. And just kind of running down the capabilities of the plant. It's run on generator power. The water we'll be using a service line from one of the fire hydrants to the south of the project, to the south of the site. We'd have material stockpiles, be separated by bins. We'll have trucks that will be maintained on site, our mixer trucks, and then we'll have deliveries, materials of sand, stone, and cement to that site. Based on where the site is located, where we chose on that site, we'll be able to stay within that site, not having to utilize any of the roads with our delivery trucks. Obviously, materials coming in would have to utilize Binding Road coming in, but the trucks would stay on the actual development site itself. State-of-the-art batch plant, we'll be using everything basically kind of sums up through there.
Yeah, the other thing I'd like to point out is the working hours will conform with the working hours that have been approved. So 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. is when it will be operational.
And that's just explaining how the plant itself works. It's a central mix plant. So we'll have a loader on site, loading materials onto a belt, feeding the plant. The belts will feed into the central mix drum. Materials will be mixed in the drum and then fed into our concrete trucks. Mixtures. And then the mixtures will go to where we're going that day.
So yeah, here's a plan that highlights where the batch and stockpile, where the batch plant will be located on site, where the stockpile will be. And we also wanted to highlight where trucks will be entering and out of the site. That's all we have.
Okay. Excuse me. Very good. Well, we'll close that portion of the public hearing. And there were notices sent out for the public hearing
There were.
by first-class mail, and we have an affidavit on file. And at this point, portion of the public hearing, we usually open it up to the public for questions or comments, but I don't know if any, you're considered the public, so if you want to say something.
We really support Hercules Act.
Okay. All right, well, that's fine. At this point, we'll open it up to the board members for questions or comments, and we'll kind of take it from there. And Mr. Frederick?
Yes, just a couple of quick questions. Where's Hercules located headquarter-wise?
Our headquarters, our main office is in Warren, Michigan. We have 2 permanent plant operations, one in Detroit by the Ambassador Bridge, another one in Centerline, 10 Mile in Sherwood, basically. And we are currently building another plant in Ypsilanti, just on the west side of Louisville.
I've seen your logo on the mixer body before.
Yes.
I guess another question would be too, so on-site batch plant, on-site inspections for like this, like a slump test?
Yes, we employ our own QC technicians, so we'll have a technician on site, so they'll test the material as we deliver it, prior to actually being placed.
And then we'll have our own third-party inspections before it gets placed.
Right.
So they'll test it at the plant, we'll test it in place.
Gotcha. All right, thank you very much. That's all I had at this time.
Question about your driveway or entrance to the concrete plant area. Is that going to be off Vining Road?
Yes.
And what kind of a driveway are you going to have for that? You're going to
So per our erosion and sediment control plans have been approved, there's a 20 by 50 rock entrance into the site.
Okay. One of the things listed here for the site sketch plan standards, one of the things was on item D was for hazardous materials on site. Is that we understand that there will be no hazardous or combustible materials stored on the site. You're going to have a refueling station there, any fuel tanks or for the trucks?
I know that General Gary went on.
Yeah, generally we get
Use it.
1,000 gallon.
Can you come to the microphone? Sorry, this way our recording secretary can pick it up
Sure.
when she's
My name's Gary
transcribing.
Kelly. I'm the Vice President of Hercules Materials Holdings. Generally, we'll have one double-wall 1,000-gallon tank on site to refuel the concrete trucks and also the loader. But that would be the only tank on site.
Kind of goes with, I was saying, you can't operate without fuel.
Yeah.
Got to have it. That was just one of the notes I had here, and I thought I'd ask you about it.
Sure.
Have they got a list of the recommendations? There's 10 items listed for recommendations.
Yes, and they look overwhelming, but they really are all components of the building permit. So Jim McGinka from the building department's been involved in this. They're also applying for an earth moving permit. We actually had a meeting with them last week, so.
Oh, okay.
Jim has directed a lot of this. You see these in other ones, it's a lot of the same stuff. Some of it are items that are just your hours of operation in your time period, but then there's other things that do need to be actually submitted with the building permit.
So if the approval would be subject to those?
To all these
Yeah.
things, yes, yes, that would be
Mr.
great.
Chandler, I have another question through the chair, Ms. Bates. So let's say June 1st to December 31st. If it has to go longer, does it come back to us, or is it just?
It would, they're entitled to, I believe they can go 12 months, but they haven't asked for that long. Typically, they're going to know a little bit ahead of time there, so it would be a matter of just getting it back on one of your agendas to extend it.
I'm just wondering about that. All right, thank you.
You expect to get that first phase done in that period of time? Before you?
The concrete will be done during that period of time. We
okay.
plan to be complete with the first phase.
For that entire project, all the concrete will be done?
Yes.
That's a lot of concrete.
Phase 1. You said phase 1 will be done with the concrete.
Yeah, we plan to be substantially complete with the first phase in the end of April 2023.
Oh,
But
okay.
Concrete will be done this year.
Is built.
When do you think the restaurant will be open?
I warned you guys, they're gonna ask you more about that than those industrial
Gotta
buildings.
work on that first, kind of spread
I
out.
look forward to it being open. I'm not sure when they'll be done. We owe the site utilities and the pad for Royal Farms by August 1st.
Well, great.
And then they have to build their own building. I'm not sure how long it takes them to get operational.
That's quite a project you got going there. And your future projects. It's going to be interesting to see it.
So we're excited for it.
Any other questions or comments or anything? I'll probably think of something later, but anyway, I think at this point in time, maybe a motion's in order.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we grant permission for the temporary, for the TEMP-2022-001 Hercules Materials Holding temporary batch plant.
With the 10,
Yep.
with the 10,
It's subject to those.
Thank you.
Subject to the 10.
Subject to the 10 recommendations under temporary use. Do I have to read those?
Good.
You can just refer to this report.
Okay, yeah, referring to the report, the planning summary report, the 10 items on the last page.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Morris, to approve the request for a temporary use for BZA 2022-001 for Hercules Material Holdings. That request has been approved. We'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Minkavich?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. That request has been approved.
Thank you.
Good luck with that project. We're looking forward to seeing it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you have a nice summer.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Well, let's see where we're at there. One thing I noticed, watching the council meetings, when we rattle the papers around these microphones,
You can hear-
it really makes a lot of noise.
Planning
just-
Commission's great with the big plans.
Yeah.
Anyway, item 6 is old business.
No old business
No old business. Any new business?
and no new business.
Okay.
God.
Communications, we have a copy of the city planner's status report. And where's it? Got it here somewhere.
Yes, we have a lot going on. Some of these projects that are on here, you may be seeing some things associated with them. Some of them may have height variances on buildings. There's one coming in that I know's got a tank that's a little too high, that's gonna have to come see you. There's something, it's wedged down here someplace, talking about Park and Fly, the Sheraton Hotel. You will have a meeting next month in May. The Sheraton's coming in and asking for a temporary Park and Fly use. They've got a big chunk of pavement that they're not using, and they're deciding whether they need to develop it as an outlot, maybe put a restaurant or something there, but in the meantime, they're asking to use it for some Park and Fly, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion on that, and trying to look if there's any of these others that need variances that we know of. Oh, the Avid Hotel, which is going to Planning Commission this month as well. They're on a real tight site over on Middle Belt with 3 front yards, so they need some variances, so you will be seeing that one.
Any discussion? I was just going to say that North Point Industrial project that's quite a project. It's
Quite a
going to take up that
project.
whole section there. And
Yep, the plan that they've got up, this is phase 1. So what you're gonna see, Royal Farms is down at the corner, of course, and then there's 3 industrial buildings, there's 3 of 7. They have approval to do 7 or possibly 9. if they make some of those buildings in Phase 2 smaller. But those three, they're getting going with. We're working on the traffic study right now. We're working on a traffic management control plan. We've got the whole team, involved in that, and in engineering, getting their outside permits. And like I said, they want to move dirt May 1st. So there's a lot of activity up in that area.
This buildings that they're going to put up there in this first phase, not the restaurant area, but what kind of a center is that going to be?
It's an industrial distribution center.
Just a variety?
It could be. They haven't told us about tenants yet. Very similar to Ecorse Commons. Have you been down there by the GM plant?
Oh, yeah.
And there's two buildings and they're multi-tenant. DHL's in there, Hearn's in there, Pitney Bowes is in there. So there's several different users. Some are, of varying.
That's quite
Some have bigger space, some have smaller space, and so I'm guessing we'll probably have similar in these buildings.
I guess I got a quick question, what's the latest on the Ford Motor Company electric battery in the old A123?
We, actually, I've been talking with them. They submitted their reoccupancy application, but it wasn't totally complete, so they're working on getting plans, and they're cleaning up in there. We know they're over there, and I believe they're working with the building department on any kind of interior stuff, but, just a pretty straightforward, simple reoccupancy. They just working on getting their paperwork in. There's been nothing recently about the second building. That there was a site plan approved for a building it's right in the corner there, that vacant property, but it's expired and they would need to come back, and I think they talked about a different design anyway, but we haven't heard anything about new development, just reuse of the existing building.
Thank you.
I think Ford Motor Company will have better luck with that facility than what was proposed originally with electric.
Well, the A123 was, in the very beginning, so.
Yeah.
A couple of questions. We're getting a lot of big buildings, industrial things. And I see on Tyler Road that sub is building pretty rapidly. And it seems like they got people moving in. Now on Wayne Road, almost to Van Born, there's a sign up for $300,000 condos or something. Is that pretty positive?
Well, you notice it's not on the project list, so we've talked to them. I get calls here and there. There hasn't been anything officially submitted. So we're waiting. They keep telling us, we'll be here in another day or two, be here soon. So
Yeah,
we're anxiously awaiting it.
I was just, when I saw the sign, and I think I saw something in the Associated newspaper or something about that, and I'm just wondering about the placement of the project. I mean, there's empty land there, but I don't know how attractive it's going to be for a $300,000 place,
We'll have to see when it comes in, see what it looks like. They've got, it's some challenging area. There's a county drain that runs through it. There's some wetlands. There are some things, that we've talked to them about when they were doing their due diligence and asking a lot of questions. At one point, they were trying to assemble more property in that area, but it does not appear that they've picked it all up. It will require a rezoning. There's a little sliver of property next to the subdivision that's zoned single family, so it will require a rezoning, as well as the site plan, so.
That piece of property has always been very interesting there anyways. I remember years ago, it was like, what's going on there?
Yeah, so.
Now, has there been any other interest as far as housing or something like that?
There has been, the Planning Commission is actually having a public hearing this month over at Gateway at the golf course community. They are taking a phase of it that was approved for duplexes and proposing to change it to single family. And then another area will have some more, it'll extend that multiple family part of it. So yes, Infinity Homes, who's been doing, actually, they're down in Legacy, the development that you just mentioned, and they've done some infill development in some of the other ones. So they'll be doing that over in Gateway.
Yeah, because we need to get some people, and we need to get students for our school.
Yes, we do. Yes, we like those rooftops.
Need a new school board.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Anything to say? If not, item 10 is adjournment.
So moved.
A second.
Excuse me. Motion by Mr. McCavish, supported by Mr. Frederick, to adjourn this meeting for tonight. Take a roll call vote. Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. This meeting is adjourned.